I met the man I wrote a letter to 6 months ago. The day after I returned from a solo trip, I decided I wanted to bring the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with into my life. I'll be honest, I was still working on myself, but I knew what I wanted, so I thought I'll write it down, know that it's on its way, and work on myself in the meantime. Looking back, a part of me had some doubt as I was writing this list, as I thought that someone this wonderful couldn't possibly exist for me to be with. I think this is important to note, as I know now that you do not have to have 100% faith and surety when bringing forth what you desire. So I sat down and I wrote two things: a list describing physical qualities, life circumstances, and personality traits that I desired in that person. And then I wrote a letter to him that I would actually be able to give him someday, basically thanking him for being who he is for me, and me telling him I loved him long before I knew his name or even who he was. I read the letter over and I thought, I love you. I can't wait to spend my life with you. And I felt an immense sense of joy and peace in my heart. And then I hid the letter and the list away. I focused on myself and my career. I lost another 50 pounds. I almost moved to another state, but ended up staying in my dream job 10 minutes from my house and completely forgot about that letter. I wasn't on Tinder. I wasn't on any dating apps, at least until I met somebody on Reddit who I spoke with for a week or so until I was ghosted. But looking back, I was a bit heartbroken for a month or two, but I believe this had to happen to bring me to the man I wrote the letter to. I never thought once about the letter I wrote in December when I was speaking with this man. I just downloaded a dating app to get over him, essentially. After 1 week of swiping, I came across someone that, though I was not immediately drawn to him, I thought he was attractive, and I saw that we had a couple of things in common, so we started talking. Turns out we had a scary amount of things in common. We had both campaigned for the same politician. We both have a hearing impairment, which is honestly something I'm very self-conscious of and would never have disclosed, but he brought it up first. Our fathers and family are retired police. We work in the same field. And we even did the same kind of law as our first job in the field, and many other things that we oddly had in common. Turns out he lived 10 minutes down the road from me for years and moved into an apartment 10 minutes from my mom's other house. He asked me to dinner the following Tuesday after talking, which was the day before he would leave for a solo trip. When I first saw him in person, I was completely blown away. Even typing that feels like a massive understatement. I was never someone who believed in love at first sight. But at that moment, sure, I experienced that feeling that those who do believe it experience. I didn't think, this is the guy I wrote the letter to just yet, as I did not even remember the letter that I wrote that day. But I knew he wasn't just going to be a one and done Tinder date. It wasn't until after our second date and on my way home that I suddenly remembered that letter I wrote back in December. And I arrived home and looked for the letter that I wrote and hid away. And along with the letter, I found the list, which I'd totally forgotten about. He matched every single thing I wrote on that list: his career, both of them, his ambitions, hobbies, his family relationship, and the seemingly small details such as him understanding my hearing impairment. I mean, who would better understand mine than someone who has one as well? I then reread the letter I wrote, and I broke down crying. I noticed the date I marked the letter with, and it was the day after I returned from my city trip. It was the same city he had left for after our first date. And without a doubt in my heart, I knew I'd written the letter to him. So, my story with this SP is not yet finished, but I see this as a success story. and a manifestation that has been in the works for months. And some people may think, why did it take 6 months? And I truly believe that I was meant to meet him at that appointed time. I was still working on myself during those months. And I'll be honest, I was not fully happy with myself and my life. And I'm very grateful to have met him at the time that I did. Neville was right. Neville Goddard was right about everything. Although I have brought some amazing things into my life over the past year using Neville Goddard's teachings, I feel like this person is my greatest success story. Did you like that manifestation success story? There are some more SP manifestation success stories in the playlist on screen right now.